Hi, I'm Paul Scheider from Hedgehog Leatherworks, and today I am here to show you a revised version of the Figure 4 deadfall trap. Now, for those of you that are joining us for the first time and have not seen the previous article on our website, the Figure 4 deadfall trap is one of the baseline fundamental skills for wilderness survival. What it's designed to do is bait an animal in, and then the animal releases a trigger mechanism that drops a lethal crushing force on top of the animal, which kills it and then collects food for you. Now, the reason these are so effective is because you can build 10 to 20 of them, set them out across the landscape, and then check them once a day. The idea here is that the trap goes to work for you collecting food while you spend your energy elsewhere on more important things. So I mentioned a moment ago that this is a revised version of the Figure 4 deadfall trap. And if you'd like to know exactly what those differences are, be sure to check out the detailed diagrams on our website at hedgehogleatherworks.com. But to give you an idea of the functional benefits of this version, right off the bat, this Figure 4 set is so much easier to carve than the one that you see in traditional survival texts. I took all three of these segments from the same piece of wood, and it doesn't even have to be a perfect straight piece of wood. As you can see, this has a pretty significant curve to it, but it simply doesn't matter because the way we notch this, it fits together so well. The other thing I like about this is that it's much easier to fit the pieces together when you're setting it up, which translates to making it less dangerous that you crush your hand inside the trap. It just makes it a lot less fumbly. The last thing I really like about this is that the trigger mechanism itself is so much more sensitive to the slightest touch. In fact, the other Figure 4 that we pictured last time was activated only from one direction. This can be activated just with the slightest touch, so when the animal goes in, it's a much higher likelihood that they're going to set the trap off. There's three main components. The first one is the vertical stick, which is characterized by having a straight carved notch like this, and then a flattened off, sharpened top joint. The diagonal component, which mounts on top of this because there's a slight notch carved in the diagonal side, which fits in perfectly on top of the vertical stick. And then our bait stick or trigger stick, which is characterized by having two notches, one here and one here. And this is going to fit in quite nicely, just like that. All you have to do is grab your diagonal stick and your vertical stick and fit them together. We lift up the rock, and notice I keep my hands out of the way so that if I slip or drop this, there's no risk that I'm going to actually crush my hand in this thing. Okay, so I get that, and I can feel the tension on here, but I keep it held in place, and if at any time it slips, that's alright because my hands are out of the way. And then I take my bait stick. I would already have the bait on here if we were actually going to trap something, and just fit it in. Catch it on one notch, then the other, and just slowly let off, and the trap is active and good to go. If you've seen our previous video, you know that it's important to bury underneath another large flat rock or a series of rocks so that it creates an anvil-like effect when this trap falls down. And before we activate it, I'm going to go ahead and point out a couple of things that are really important. Number one is this vertical stick. I have set it so that it's just outside the falling path of the rock. If it's set in too close and the trap goes off, that stick will remain in the way and the rock will fall down an inch or so and get caught on this. The critter will definitely be gone by then. The other important thing is this diagonal stick here is not at a full 45 degrees. In fact, the closer the diagonal stick is to a vertical position, the better, because it creates less force on the trigger mechanism, and hence it takes less of an action to set it off. It makes your trap much more sensitive. Okay, so that's the rundown of how the physics of it work, and just to give you an idea, here's how little force it takes to set this off.